Would you like to learn why I believe that DJI6930 has got the opportunity and is going to be making life-changing multipliers within the next 90 to 120 days? If you love content like this, make sure that you smash a like on this video, and if you haven't yet, make sure that you subscribe to Superman Live so that you can get alpha from me about the cryptocurrencies I'm covering and new cryptocurrencies that I may not talk about on my new channel until I've covered it here. So make sure you smash a like here and also subscribe. Now, I have been in the cryptocurrency game now for 8 years. And in those 8 years, I have found multiple hits. Okay, so you can think of me as Stock Aitken and Waterman back in the 80s. So Stock Aitken and Waterman were music producers. And their entity was called the Hit Factory. Because any musical artist that wanted to have a smash hit went to them to produce their music. So, Stock Aitken and Waterman were responsible for producing the likes of Jason Donovan, Kylie Minogue, Bananarama, Sanita, Brother Beyond, Steps. I mean, there's tons and tons. Mel and Kim, tons and tons of acts. But their biggest ever hit was Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. And in my personal opinion, my Rick Astley Never Gonna Give You Up is Dowge. Okay, so I have had, as you can see, multiple, and this isn't all of them either. This is just a string of my biggest hits, right? But I believe that having seen Dowge and having covered all of these coins and having been in cryptocurrency for 8 years, there has never been a cryptocurrency I am more passionate about and believe in more than Dowge. Okay, this is something that really triggers, the kind of, or should I say, evokes emotion, passion, a want, a belief for this to succeed, right? And it's the same kind of thing as what's happened with SPX6900. So we have the SPX6900 Aeons. They started a lot earlier. They have now gotten to the point where SPX6900 is now $1.6 billion. And Dowge at this point, we are looking at, we're looking at being 50x, even at this point, still cheaper than SPX6900. Dowge has got a long way to go. What you've got to remember is that DJI6900 at this point is only 2 weeks old, and in that time has amassed 9,000 hodlers. And the thing is that it just keeps growing. The amount of hodlers just keeps growing. The amount of believers just keep diamond handing. And as a result of that, it just allows the community to grow on top of each other and just keep on growing. And even the people that sell, even the people that are selling, these people are selling little bits, but at the end of the day are keeping the faith. So the holders isn't really changing. The holding is only going up at this point. Now, we are in a fantastic position where we are seeing ETH now pushing ahead of Bitcoin. And as I said in my last video, Ethereum is the precursor to altcoin season. So when Bitcoin is outperforming everything, then it's Bitcoin season. There may be some outliers, but fundamentally, if Bitcoin is outperforming most of the markets, it's a Bitcoin season. But now, having had a big run up with Bitcoin, now we are seeing Ethereum essentially has almost pushed up a whole $1,000 in value. And we are seeing now that the altcoin season is really heating up. 43. Last live video, I'm pretty sure, a couple of weeks ago, was 20. And then it's just been going up ever since. It's doubled in just 2 weeks, right? So in my personal opinion, we are seeing the building up of altcoin season. And what happens in altcoin season, as opposed to Bitcoin season, is this is when new retail money come in, right? So yes, there's already retail in the market, but it's existing retail. It's people that have been around, the kind of die-hard people, right? The people that have been in crypto for a while. Or at least are relatively new, but it's stuck to them over the last year. Or at least about 9 months. Okay, ever since Trump got into power, we have seen maybe some new people coming in, but it's really existing retail. what's going to be coming in alt season is new retail money. People that are going to be hearing about cryptocurrency and altcoins for the first time, speculating on meme coins for the first time. Right? So we have got the rumblings now. We have got the beginning of the eruption, in my opinion, the start of the party. Okay? And in that time, we've got a 90 to 120 day window, in my opinion, until the conclusion of the bull market, at least if we are to follow the previous bull markets. Now, the bull market could end in September, it could end in November, it could end in January, we don't know, okay? But all I can say is that within this window, we should have the big hockey stick going up, right? Now, this has been what I consider to be a very important tweet, and I agree with it 1,000%, and this is coming from a place of having covered every single crypto narrative in all of cryptocurrency. By the way, just before I carry on, let me just share this over. Let me make sure that you can hear me first of all. Yes, you can. So bear with me. Let me just share this over to the X's, to the Trinites on X, to come and join. There we are, done and done. It's very quick. I'm very practiced at this. So, this tweet, I 100% agree with. And this is having covered every narrative in crypto across many, many years. Like, you cannot argue with the depth of my experience, okay? I am not some noob that's only ever traded meme coins. In fact, to be honest, I was one of those experienced crypto experts that said you shouldn't buy Shiba. And then it made a 4,000x. So I even was on the wrong side of it because I was snobby to it, all right? Until I appreciated the value. Now, the tweet says, the most successful meme projects don't need leaders, just a bunch of crazy motherfuckers who believe in the mission and will run through a wall for it. Now, the key part in this is mission. Believe in the mission, but mission. Now, how many cryptocurrencies are actually a mission coin? Very few. Very few. So few, I can only name two, and that's these two. These are the only two with a mission. Now, I've seen probably, trawling through various meme coins on Dick Screener, where I go on here and I'm like, okay, this sounds interesting, click in it, and it's like, oh, we're on a mission to be the biggest dog coin in the world, right? And it's 10k dog coin, and I'm like, you're dreaming, you're delusional, you're not delusional, you're just stupid, you're pure retarded, right? Because you're never going to be, you're never, ever going to be the next Doge or the next Shiba. You're never going to be, right? So it's a mission that's completely unrealistic and completely unlikely to achieve. It just can't happen. There's thousands, there's millions of dog coins now, right? But mission coins, there's hardly any, like ones that actually have an objective to achieve a mission. And one of these is SPX6900, okay? So their manifesto, their mission is to essentially reset the system that has been created by, the SPX anyway, right? And allowing people to jump on the wealth bandwagon. But guess what? SPX is $1.5 billion. Now, I actually do think this has a high ceiling as a meme coin, unlike other meme coins. So, Pepe, Doge, Shiba, I think those have got ceilings. Popcat, Mog, Fartcoin, I think they've all got ceilings, right? Just purely because there is no mission. There is no objective, there's no movement, right? It's just pure, it's just a meme, right? It's not something that people can really get behind. Now, I'm sure if you're watching me and you're a Trinite and you're in the, if you're in the DJI6930 group, then you will undoubtedly, I am sure, be thinking to yourself that you've never felt this way about Shiba, Pepe, Doge, any of those meme coins, right? Because you are really part of something. You are part of a belief system, a community of like-minded believers. Like, it just is a different feeling when you count, okay? It's not the person that thought up Pepe. It's not, you're just one of many, many thousands or millions of hodlers. No, you count. Every single person counts. The collective of yous count. And you only get that with these two, but the difference being is this one is a ginormous market cap. But I wholly agree with this. that people who are crazy motherfuckers who believe in the mission would run through a wall for it. And I have even been displaying these behaviors in the last week. Like, there have been people in my Superman Masterminds group who have been, you know, maybe inadvertently, you know, fading Dowge. I mute them, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, you know, I am so passionate about it, and many people are. And that's the kind of approach that actually changes the world, because, you know, people are actually really focused and concentrated on the mission and the values of that mission, which are don't trade, buy, believe, broadcast, you know, just hold. That's all you need to do, right? And just broadcast, you know? And I've been seeing a lot of YouTubers getting hoarded with DJI6930 comments and Dowge comments. So it's working, right? And that network effect is what has led to where we are at right now, which is only in 2 weeks, 38 million market cap. But the ceiling is insanely high for this. Like, I would not be surprised to see a T here. And I'm not joking. I would not be surprised to see a T here. And it's very rare that I could actually say, in fact, I could never say that about anything. But I could say that about SPX potentially and about Dowge, where I could actually see that it's worth trillions. Okay? Now, the reason why I think that the strongest type of meme coin is missions is because of just the pure thesis behind it. The enthusiasm, the belief, the kind of spiritual side of oneself, right, is why these are the strongest. Okay, because there's just so many, you know, kind of pointless animal coins. Like the amount of people that are saying, Super, can you show, you know, my animal crappy meme coin? And I just think it ain't gonna work. It's got no angle, right? And it's the same with, you know, irrelevant phrase, you know, these kind of trend ones. They're so stupid, right? They're dumb. You need something that kind of cuts through all the temporariness of these memes, and something that actually speaks to people, right? And that is why I love DJI6930, because this speaks to people. This is no joke. You know, this is a cryptocurrency with a very, you know, ambitious, potentially delusional mission. But something that you can't argue against is look at the progress towards that mission. In just 2 weeks, look at the progress, and there's no stopping. And I'm going to show you something which is going to make you even more enthusiastic about it, right? So this is a slightly different version of what I showed in the last video. So movement, okay, yeah, there are very few movements, you know, few missions. Now, Bitcoin was the original cult, and it still is. You know, Bitcoin maximalism has existed for over a decade, purely because, you know, this was a mission to create an alternative financial system, right? But ever since then, the market's been awash with just other people's ideas, right? And it's rare that you just get two that just cut through all that crap and get right to the heart of the community, right to the heart of the person. And that's these two here. Other than Bitcoin, these two here. You cannot say the same for Doge. You definitely cannot say the same for Ondo. You like them because this is the strongest meme, this is the strongest RWA, and that's it. You know, this is where these two are the equivalent of the Dow Jones Index itself. You know, they're elite assets, very few multipliers programmed in. You're not going to make life-changing wealth, like, ever with these. But these, you know, they're both good. And you know, they've both got cult communities. Now, here is where the difference between Dowge and SPX lies. This bit. Pre-critical mass, okay? So by pre-critical mass, that means the hordes, okay? That means for the first time, the hordes are going to be coming, right? And we have not had that yet. We've not had that, you know, for a lot of very new cryptocurrencies, where, you know, it's kind of like altcoin season, the masses flood in, They're like, take my money. I just want to get into something that's really juicy and meaty and has fantastic multiplier potential. You know, take my money, right? That's pre-critical mass. Pre-critical mass is before the horde, before, you know, there's some kind of means that before there is major adoption. Now, all of these cryptos have had adoption, and Dow Jones Index, which has been around for, you know, basically multiple decades. So, you know, this has already got a critical mass, right? Doge has got a critical mass. This has been around since my first video, you know, and 4 years even older than that. Bitcoin, obviously, has hit critical mass a long time ago. And Ondo, I would say arguably, has hit a critical mass, because it's been around a while now. And we've had RWA seasons, and we have had people flooding to them. So all of these are already experienced critical mass. And at this point, you're going to have fewer multipliers. Critical mass is when a cryptocurrency goes from a very low market cap to an extremely high market cap. So you could almost say that Doge was pre-critical mass before Elon Musk put that he was the CEO of Dogecoin, started shilling Dogecoin back in 2020 and 2021, right? You could say that Doge was arguably pre-critical mass, but it also wasn't pre-critical mass. But I'll just give you an example. It went from absolutely nowhere to nearly 100 billion market cap in a very short space of time, right? So already hit critical mass. Now, SPX6900, you could reasonably argue, has not had critical mass. Because, you know, the hockey stick at the end, all of these have had. You know, the hockey sticks have been had for these, right? But SPX, arguably, this has had one big pump, and that was in October last year. Having said that, this is on quite a few exchanges, on Binance US as well. So it's already available to, you know, hundreds of thousands, millions of crypto speculators. And it's at 1.5 billion and has been nearly as high as 2 billion. When you're a cryptocurrency that's at 2 billion, you could argue that it has achieved some form of critical mass already. All right? And even if it hasn't, and that's why I've put this is middle ground. It's not achieved, you know, the critical mass that the other coins and assets have. But at the same time, it's not brand new, under 10,000 hodlers. This is pure pre-critical mass. You know, this isn't anywhere near 100 million yet, right? So you could argue that the most virginal, the most untouched territory is DJI6900. Now, I've gone through these ones already. And this one is also a very strong one, okay? Spiritual backbone. You know, a spiritual core. None of these have it. All right, these two have it. All right, which is, you know, you essentially believe that you are part of some kind of Woodstock. Okay, so Woodstock was a major worldwide event in 1969. Had the biggest rock stars and music stars there. And it was really a peace event, right? And it was one of the most poignant, most memorable events that has ever taken place. And it was completely spiritual, right? Yeah, because at the heart of it, you're looking for something more. You know, you're craving kind of, you know, that's what people come to cryptocurrency for. You know, they want to make life-changing wealth, right? So it's something that just kind of immediately grabs people, and that is not, there's no heart and soul in most cryptos, particularly something like Ondo, right? Or Chainlink, or Render, insert blue chip coin, right? There's no soul. It's just someone's idea, some multiple billion-dollar cryptocurrency you're going to make sod all from, and you don't even care about it at the same time. You go on your portfolio and you see that you've got it, and you're like, oh yeah, cool, I've got it. So when, you know, when it's the, you know, euphoria stage, you know, I'm in, right? But you don't give a shit. You look at it on your portfolio, but you don't care. You see that you see how much, you know, your holding is worth, but you don't care. This is something you care about, right? So DJI6930 has every quality and then some. And given that SPX6900 is meant to be that same kind of coin, you can see where it's lacking, okay? It's already achieved some form of critical mass. you are now in a position where you're just making other people money. All the earlier believers in SPX. The people who actually are part of the community, who are passionate about the community, that are early in the community, they are the ones that are going to be made rich, and you'll be made slightly richer. But with DJI, you are, at this point anyway, it's a micro cap. You are part of the movement. Here you're not part of the movement. Here the aeons have already taken place. People are already making videos. Every big YouTuber has spoken about SPX. There's limited upside, you know? And although we haven't had necessarily the hockey stick come in this market cycle, which could take SPX up, gargantuan. What we haven't got is we haven't got an early opportunity here, right? And you just don't care, right? Because it's already done. This you care about, okay? The Dow Jones Index is the main index in the stock market. It's the main index. It's the most prestigious. And you can see the difference between the two. You can see that DJI6930 is actually having a serious movement. SPX is a satirical movement. This is a satirical, jovial movement. Dowge is not jovial. Like, as far as I'm concerned, Dowge is really, a very, very, got a very, very sticky community. It's an everybody faith. It's as good as religion. It's as good as religion. And it's just all inclusive. Like, you don't feel like you're out of the clique, right? The clique is already there for aeons. Like, they've already formed their clique. They all kind of know each other. They're all reposting each other's stuff. But DJI6930, you are part of the clique, and can be for at least another 100x. So this is the opportunity that is the most primed, the most optimal to make incredible wealth and be part of something that, kind of transcends the rest of the market. All these kind of faceless cryptocurrencies you do not give a shit about. I don't. And I've been part of the journey for most of these. Chainlink was my slam dunk in the last bull market. Cardano was one of my big coins in the first bull market that I ever achieved. And I care not for any of them, because they kind of just are just faceless companies almost, like stock market companies. But you can actually make a difference being part of the Trinites. And look at the movement. Like, just look. Like, we are talking about, this is a week ago, there was no such thing as the Trinites. There was no such thing as these two emojis that symbolize you're part of the Trinites. And just in a few days, look at the amount of Trinites. Like, it's just huge. So it's growing. It's growing substantially, right? Another factor is that Murad is not a YouTuber. All right, okay, he is an X account, and unlike 2021 and 2017, X accounts are almost on par with YouTubers. In fact, to be honest, they're better than YouTubers nowadays, because most YouTubers have let the side down. Right? They're just not good anymore. You watch YouTube and it's like Chainlink, Render, Ondo, Hyperliquid, blah, 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 blah. Fucking no one cares, right? The same old shit. At least people on X go in the trenches, look for good opportunities. And that's why X has become a bigger force. But Murad does not have he does have major power on X, but none on YouTube, right? And most people are going to come to YouTube. They're not going to be going on X. When the new money come in, they're not going to be going on X. Why would they? They don't know how to, probably most of them don't know how to use X, or never use it anyway. But most do use YouTube, right? And YouTube is the most optimized for crypto content. Not Instagram, not TikTok, not Facebook, not Twitch, no other platform, right? It's actually optimized for crypto content, search, right? But, you know, YouTube is. So when it comes to the big hockey stick at the end, you know, my YouTube content is going to be getting seen a lot more, and it's going to have more of an impact, right? So let me just take you back a good, nice 8 years, right? When I was first talking about ethos, right? So ethos was my first big commitment. So I've had few commitments. You know, I would say that ethos was definitely one of my biggest. You know, and I would equate what's happening right now with Dowge to ethos, because I've not been as passionate about a cryptocurrency in 8 years, right? So here we are. So what you had was me across many, many videos at the most optimal times talking about ethos, right? New revolution in cryptocurrency, top five coins to buy today, top 5 high potential coins, golden ticket cryptocurrency, the big reveal. And this was where I actually went into the ethos platform and took everybody through it. And even though it's only got 27K views, because this is about 2 months before critical mass, right? Even though I only had that, oh boy, did it make the biggest impact, right? And same with this one, and then this one was a major video, okay? Is ethos the cryptocurrency that rules them all, right? That was a major video. And then, because this was where ethos actually rebranded from what they were and became a really strong contender at that point. First crypto millionaire, that was my first. I made 1 millionaire in ethos at this point, just before the hockey stick. Okay, so at this point, you know, ethos was like $4 or something. So it was way before it went up to like nearly $14. And then here we go. You know, this is how I essentially positioned ethos as the Coinbase killer, as this is the one that actually, you know, people, these guys care about you. And they did at that time anyway. Because Coinbase didn't give a shit. They were a massive entity. They are even bigger now. But they didn't care about people. They didn't care about, you know, making their services available to more and more countries. They just wanted to be there for the big countries, and they didn't care about anybody else. And that's why ethos was perfectly positioned. And then just exactly at the point of euphoria, I brought out this, right? Top 5 cryptocurrencies for 2018, and top of the list was ethos, right? 126K views. This is the equivalent of where I got 500,000 views in 2021. You know you're in euphoria when I'm getting views like this, okay? Where it just kind of, you know, 3 or 4 X's from the norm, right? And then that was it, really. And then we hit the end of the bull market, and that was kind of it, right? And then we went into 2018, which at that time, there was no such thing as 4-year market cycles, because we only had one cycle at that point, so no historic data to go through, right? But what you can see here is the systematic covering of ethos, which took it from a $5 million market cap to an $850 million market cap, right? It's this kind of coverage, yeah, and that exists still today. You know, because people are going to be looking, new money is going to be looking for meme coins. All right, there's just no doubt about it. And I would say the #1 meme coin content creator on YouTube is me. Because, yeah, Coin Bureau doesn't talk about it, Alex Becker doesn't talk about it, Altcoin Daily doesn't talk about it, Penn Cowan certainly doesn't talk about it. You know, Cryptos R Us, all of the big channels, they don't cover memes. They are not meme coin, you know, evangelists at all. They're just same old shit. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, XRP, boring crap, right? So I am one of the biggest meme content creators. So when it comes to the euphoria stage, and I believe that my meme content is going to be at the top, right? I don't think I'm going to be being rivaled. Potentially by Joe Parry's. Don't get me wrong, I think Joe Parry's is going to be giving me a run for my money. He hasn't been around lately, but he will be coming back soon. And he will be giving me a run for my money with meme content because, yeah, he is great at videos. But other than that, you know, I think that my meme content is going to be very, very popular at the time. you know, at the time like this, you know, where I'm getting 126k views, 138k views, right? Where I've got the branding, I've got the, you know, the coin logo in the thumbnail. I mean, these thumbnails really suck, don't they? Compared to like even now, right? You know, but yeah, but there we are, right? So this is my exact strategy of what's going to be happening. Now, at the same time, I know people are saying, oh, Simon, why aren't you covering, you know, certain other coins? You know, Ass, Superman, Millennial, Fuck 9 to 5, you know, why aren't you covering them? And the fact of the matter is I will be covering them at some point, right? It's just not worth it right now because no one's actually really listening that's new, all right? It's just regurgitating the same content to the same people. And you know, if it never really took off by now, then it's not really going to take off. So something like you know, DJI6930, that's stuck. You know, as soon as I started covering it, stuck, and it just kept on going up and up and up. You know, in the first week, it went to 22 million. That's never happened, you know, for something that I've covered. Right? And that just shows you how this just struck a chord instantly, right? It's new and unique, whilst at the same time being something that people recognize. Now, SPX6900 is undoubtedly one of the big darlings of this cycle, don't get me wrong, but everybody missed it. And so it's not really a cool opportunity. People are buying it, but they're kind of thinking, am I going to make 5x? I'm going to make 10x? Am I really going to make anything from this? Because it's already exploded, right? But DJI6930, I mean, this is early. This is super early still. So as a result of that, like the opportunity, people are going to recognize that this is something to get into, whereas they will see SPX as something that they may consider small holding in. They won't be passionate enough to really put a lot of money in, whereas this, more likely. Right? So basically, long and short of it is, to summarize, altcoin season's picking up. You know, Ethereum is the biggest example. Altcoin season's coming. You can that's further compounded by altcoin season statistics. We are getting towards that 50% where we're crossing the threshold into altcoin mania. And really, the ultimate meme coin, because I believe only a few meme coins, I think that only a few narratives are going to really stand out in this euphoria stage. And memes, I think, are going to be the strongest, right? And so of memes, the ones that are going to basically allow, you know, that compile an incredible community of people that believe in the mission and hold and diamond-handed through the mission, and are so passionate about it, they will defend it, they will broadcast it. These are the ones that are going to absolutely blow the roof off. And you can see just by the early stages of DJI6930, you know, the more I talk about it, the more people it's going to come under more and more people's attention. People are going to be, I know for a fact that the bigger YouTubers are going to be covering this, right? But you've got to be patient at the same time. With DJI6930, we are looking at something that is pre-exchanges. We're looking at something that's pre-critical mass, pre the new retail money, the inflow of new blood, and we're pre-exchanges. There's no exchanges. So if you look at, you know, SPX, for instance, SPX is on everything already. You know, it's already on a ton of different exchanges. Yeah, and across various chains as well. You know, these guys are on pretty much everything. You know, the only things that they're not on is the main Binance and the main Coinbase at this point, right? But, you know, it's known. It's already known. And yes, I do think that there's, you know, decent multiplier potential in this. Definitely better than most of the market. Right? Don't get me wrong. I think that the Aeons are on something. I'm not putting them down. All I'm saying is, you know, we're looking at a coin that has already done. So if you're looking at percentage terms, if you want to work out the multiplier, you just literally subtract the last two numbers before the dot, right? And then what you've got is this is already 658,000 x'd, right? So the opportunity's gone, right? You are compounding upon a 658,000 1000x multiplier already. Like, the upside is just not there, right? And it's already out in a load of exchanges. And yet we look at Dowge. Dowge at this point, if we go to markets, has gotten where it's gotten to on few exchanges. You know, we got KCX. We've also got, I think it's China Exchange or something like that. But none of the majors, not on KuCoin, not on Gate, not on MEXC. And then ultimately, we're looking at, you know, the premier tier exchanges, right? And all of that is still to come. And where it is right now is just on DEXs and just a couple of minor exchanges. So we're pre-pump, pre-critical mass, pre-pump. And the reason it's gotten where it's gotten to is purely because of the fact that this mission and movement has captured people. Like, you only need to go on X right now and you'll see tons and tons and tons of memes. Tons of memes about DJI6930. Look, it's so rich with memes. You know, it's a fantastic jack of all trades, basically, because it's got everything. It's got the mission, the movement, the decentralization, which I dare say has even gotten bigger and better since more holders have joined. You know, when I showed you the decentralization score of just under 11, which was double that of SPX, you know, it only had 7,000 hodlers. Now it's got near 10,000, right? It's just only getting more and more decentralized, more evenly spread out, right? So decentralized, dog meta, stock meta, RWA, TradFi friendly, low market cap, spiritual foundations. Like, literally, it is the everything coin. There's so and at the heart of it, it's got fantastic memes, right? Memes that are spiritual in nature, movement orientated. You know, like, these are great artwork, fantastic artwork. Yeah. You know, Dowge themselves. I mean, look, the Trinites, if you're not a Trinite yet, become a Trinite. You know, because it allows you, oh, they've reposted, that's awesome. It allows you to really become part of the community. You know, it's you know, it's kind of soulless when you are just investing in just some random coin that's someone else's idea. But when you are in a coin that you directly can have an impact on, that changes the game completely. And look, again, look at the memes. Fantastic memes. Some great videos. It's now on Banter Bubbles, which means that it's kind of hit, you know, those big trending coins. They got videos, GIFs. Like, it's only going from strength to strength. Remember, this is 2 weeks old. Imagine how it will be after 6 months. And that's what I'll leave you with. Right, let me now take some questions, see what you guys have got to say. I'm on both Twitch and YouTube, ATM. Good to see you, Alan Blake, Coin Crocodile. What do you think about market cap of Doge going to go to? Well, it's limitless. That's the great thing. It's completely limitless. There's no ceiling. Like there is with kind of Pepe, Shiba, Doge, Flocky, Dog with Hat, Bonk. They've all got ceilings. You know, the absolute ceiling's like 100 billion. Right? That's what Doge got to, and that's the aspiration. But there's no more than that. And as far as I'm concerned, the best case scenario for any animal meme is where Shiba got to, because Doge is the ruler, right? You know, Ethereum hasn't got anywhere near Bitcoin's market. It's never gone anywhere near the trillions, right? So already, you know, Doge in very similar form is the leader. You know, that's just that. Well, for now it is anyway, right? So really, the upper end for any meme coin is like 40 million. This is limitless because it's got a target, an actual target, an achievable mission. And that's why when people say, how high can it go? Who knows? In my opinion, I think this is going to defy physics, just like SPX has. It's kind of defied crypto logic, multiplier logic. You know, it's just done super well. And Dowge, as a result, has the opportunity to do the exact same. Because it's SPX6900, but better. Like, you can't beat... Like, there's a load of Temu SPXs out there. I'm not even going to mention any names. There's a load of Temu SPXs out there that are basically trying to be exactly the same kind of crappy website, same kind of crappy coin, you know, with just some stupid text on it, like with SPX. Like, at least these guys did it first. But other people putting, you know, something else, DXY or something dumb, right? There's a lack of originality. They're pathetic. They're pathetic cryptocurrencies. Right? Those are going to go nowhere. But Dowge is a real movement, right? A real mission. Like, this is going for something. Like, this is actually serious. And you can tell you can just tell by the adoption. The adoption's brilliant. And the thing is that even if you don't want to put 10,000 or 1,000 in, you could just have some exposure, because 100,000x or even 1,000,000x, you know, to get to where the Dow Jones Index is, to flip the Dow Jones, just like how Bitcoin has essentially now gone on to flip gold, to flip, you know, the financial banking system on its head. You know, delusional missions and movements come to life, come to fruition. You know, as long as the community stay loyal, the team keep on building and expanding, basically it's limitless, and they can achieve that mission. And that's why Dowge is so strong, such a strong cryptocurrency. Right, let me take some more questions. Hold on, let me just get rid of some idiots, okay? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't tolerate people who are... If you're gonna be a dickhead, I'm gonna get rid of you. Don't care how long you've been watching my videos, because, you know, something that annoys me is just pure disrespect, to be honest. Are you still holding SPOM? Did I ever say I was holding SPOM? But yes, basically. What do you think of XRP 20x max? No. XRP's a 3x. Don't be deluded. I mean, DJI6930, I mean, it may be an incredibly ambitious mission, but it's actually achievable. XRP is a big pile of steaming shit. Right? It's a crap centralized coin. Right? If you think it's honestly going to go anywhere near a 20x, like, you literally need to be sectioned. What do you think of the Grok community? Stupid. It's not even a thing, in my opinion. And that's me being very honest. I'm not going to just shit on everything that's not DJI6930. I am very honest. You know, I'm very honest. You know, if I don't like something, I will say. And if I love something, I will also say. And I think that's coming out. Hold on. I saw a question, but it's gone. Was Momo a good meme coin? Yeah, I do hold some Momo, and yeah, I think it's got a great angle. All right. So what I see with a lot of shit dog coins people put past me is that they're like, oh, this is the next Shiba. No, you're not. You're never going to be the next Shiba. All right. But Momo is Bonk's sister, so it's a good narrative. Are you going to bring new degen? What, 50k market cap? Right, okay, look, right? I'm going to be brutally frank with you, okay? If I bring you something that's 50k, some or 2 or 3 people are going to buy up all the supply, and they're going to dump on your ass, right? So no, I'm not going to bring you a 50k play. Like, there is one particular YouTuber, I'm not going to say, but they bring you that kind of thing, and that's what happens to every one of those coins. So I pride myself on delivering a multiplier with style. Like, not just purely because it's just low cap and it should just do well. Super, are you going to just talk about Doge all the time? No, not all the time. You know, but pretty much 99% of the time, yeah. Most crypto YouTubers will not talk about a coin unless they're paid off by the devs. Exactly. SPX bros are going to jump ship, just watch. Well, I'll tell you this, right? Will they show it on here? Probably not. But no, they aren't showing it on here. So, oh no, they are actually. So, no, they're not. So Murad owns 30 million, I believe, of SPX. Right? It's got good liquidity. Don't get me wrong. But as soon as he starts cashing out, basically the house of cards will completely crumble. Like, there's too much money concentrated at the top. Like, there's not enough liquidity to cover everybody's trades. And that's why the decentralization score on Dowge is so much stronger, because it's more evenly spread out, you know? Yes, there is going to be, you know, some people who held and didn't sell that are therefore going to have a lot of supply by the end, but that's going to be a minority, you know, because most people are actually, you know, clipping off, which means that it's only spreading the distribution much wider, which is fantastic. But as soon as Murad even sells one of these tokens, like, it's this is going to absolutely collapse. Now, I personally think that Murad is way too passionate about SPX to even think about cashing out, you know, at any time soon. So I don't think it's an immediate threat, don't get me wrong. But as soon as it happens, this thing's going to crumble. And you better be quick, because he's got 30 million to sell. So you better be quick, is basically what I'm saying. This has the potential to not do an altcoin, because that would be saying this is a rug pull. It's not a rug pull, but it just simply will not have enough liquidity to cash out all the multiple, you know, all the multiple massive multi-millionaires that are going to come out of SPX that were early, you know, insiders. And the great thing about Dowge is it's got no insiders. There's no insiders, right? Right. This is a purely organically grown crypto. It's fantastic. No paid shills, right? So there's not going to be any dumping on this. This is something I have personally taken on myself to make, you know, to make the biggest hit of this bull market, right? And I am extremely passionate about it. You know, anybody who attempts to, like, really put this down, I will just simply block, right? And that's not because I'm scared or oh, Super, you scared? Because I had a few comments. Oh, Super, you worried? No, I'm not worried at all. It's just I just got no time for morons, and there's lots of morons online, so I just delete them, right? And same with influencers. Like, if any of them were to try and make this go down, I just simply block them. Simple as that. You know, make it very simple for myself. Anyway, carrying on. We're carrying on. That's an order. Any news for more exchanges coming? I ain't going to tell you anything. Right? I'm not going to tell you anything. Because this is a belief coin. You know? I'm sick and tired of people seeing this as a multiplier. Right? People that are like, oh, when's the next bullish event? Fuck your next bullish event, right? If you believe, you'll hold. Right? And simple as that. And look at the volume of DJI at the market cap that it is, right? And let's have a look at SPX. Only double. And it's 50 times the value. So go figure, basically. But I'm not going to tell you about these. You're just going to have to believe. Hold and believe. That's all you need to do. All right? And if you don't believe, if you're like, oh, there's no exchanges enough, well, fuck off then. That's honestly my thoughts on you. Because I am proud of all the people that have held DJI6930. Very, extremely proud of all the people that have held this, have believed in it, are pushing it, are broadcasting it, are not looking at charts, are not saying, oh, look at the price. Oh, the price is going to go down. Oh, the price is going to go to this. Those people, frankly, I'm just going to mute. right? I only support the people that will support this coin, right? That's that. So if you make any content about Dowge, tag me in it and I will repost it. If you make any videos, I'll repost it. As I'm in true support, and anybody who doesn't care for this can go fuck off. Simple as that. You know? Trash coin is pumping, buy trash. Your fucking comment and brain matter is trash. The artwork is epic. Thank you very much. Super bro, you need to gather many YouTubers to promote the growth. Right? Listen to my words very carefully. Okay? If I get other YouTubers in, you know, which I'll be honest with you, I've already made great steps to, okay? So don't worry about that. But ones that I don't have any relationship with, and they're like, "Oh, I'll talk about DJI." They're gonna say, "Oh, I want some supply," and it's no paid shills, right? So they're either gonna have to buy their own, or not bother. But then they'll end up buying it anyway when it's already booming, just like with SPX. Now a load of people, you know, did say that the SPX sucks. I was never one of them. I always said SPX is very, very strong. I think SPX has the potential, you know, to actually outperform Doge. I do think it's got that long-term potential. You know, if Murad sticks around, you know, I do think it has got strong qualities. You know, it's got very strong qualities. Quality stronger than most cryptocurrencies. Okay, so even though I've marked it down on 3 compared to Dowge, it's still way better than pretty much 99.99999% of things out there. You know, as far as if you were to get into if you were to say to me, Supo, what would you get into? Would you get into Pepe, Shiba, or SPX? I say get into SPX, personally, right? Because that's a movement. It's something to believe in. It's something. It's a mission to, you know, be part of the journey to achieving. And even if it's never achieved, like if you even get close, then that's beautiful multipliers, right? So I prefer movement coins, but this one, in my opinion, at the market cap that it is, it's just beautiful. And I saw that Elio Trades and Alex Becker launched a coin earlier this week called Black Hole Protocol, which is somehow double this, and it's just a DeFi DEX. Just so stupid. Right, but this is going to surpass that. It's going to surpass everything. Just mark my words. So your top memes versus Joe Parry's crypto gains and maybe Stam Crypto would be good to see via comparison. My beliefs on Supo. I agree with you, Big Boss Razza. But it's cool to see a mention for Stan, because Stan never gets any mentions, does he? That guy has really struggled to get traffic, and I'm glad to see he's finally getting some. And the traffic jokes. Super, you're way better than Joe Parry's. Well, we're kind of one and the same, actually. If you watch his videos, he basically starts every video saying, "Would you like to learn?" I love Joe Parry's. I've known him since 2016, before I even got into crypto. You know, he and I were Udemy instructors, Skillshare instructors. You know, we've known each other for many years, and we're part of the Jerry Banfield crew as well. Whatever happened to Ethos? Well, they got bought out by an entity called Voyager. I don't even know if Voyager's even still around. I don't think so. Voyager went down in like 2022. Voyager went down the same time as SPX. So, you know, Ethos, and that gives you an indication of what I achieved with Ethos, because they were just a $5 million wallet, you know, back in 2017. They were just they were a universal wallet, don't get me wrong, but they were ultimately just a wallet. You know, there wasn't even a DeFi season back. There was nothing like that, right? But I found a narrative, an angle that made it stick, and I took it up to 850 million. And ultimately, they got bought out by Voyager, which was, you know, big into real world assets, you know, and stocks and things like that. And they bought Ethos as part of their crypto arm, and then they became the Voyager token, which actually did go on to do another 500x back in 2021. So it did a 300x plus twice. Now, I've never seen a coin do that ever, right? So, getting it bought up to be bought by a major entity like Voyager was an achievement. You were once handsome. Fuck you. Trinites, I like it. Well, the whole point of Trinites is it's regarding the Holy Trinity of Dowge. So Dowge is a three-headed dog, right? And, everything's in threes. You've got buy, believe, broadcast. You've got no charts, no TA, no paid shells. You've got multitudinous threes within Dowge, right? So the Trinites just make sense. Beautiful. And nothing actually makes me happier than when I see, these emojis on people's, Twitter. That the movement is getting stronger. It's getting more viral. It's attracting more people. And it's 2 weeks old at the end of the day. And, there was this Dej coin. It's the same market cap. Dej coin, right? Let's just have a look at this, right? This coin is a steaming pile of shit. America's digital mascot. Like, it just means nothing. July 4th. Did this come out on the 4th of July or something? I don't even... We channel the spirit of 1969. It's just trying too hard to mean something. But the only thing that makes it half decent is the name. And that's about it. But most cryptocurrencies that went to a very high market cap around the same time that Dowge came out ended up just completely dying. Right? Like there was one called Company or some shit. And I remember people saying, oh, should I get into Company and not Dowge? Let's have a look at Company now. Right, and I said you'd be an absolute pillock to do so. And like it's 69k now. This was... What was that? 25 million market cap? I don't even know. And now it's 69k. Right? These are shit. Tell God, dog shit coins. Right? All of these are. Even Pump is a dog shit coin. Like this just immediately blew up to a ridiculous market cap. It's not going to make anybody money. It's just going to make the people who ran the TGE any money. And a lot of these coins are just utter rubbish. They're just useless. Literally, there's useless. I think that was a little bit of, what's the word? Subliminal marketing there. But yeah, I mean, most of these coins are so completely stupid. This is some knockoff. Vine, again, stupid pile of shit. Momo's doing very well. Look at Dowge. Dowge is in there like a beast. 40.8 million. But to me, this is supremely undervalued. I really do think so. But, at the end of the day, what matters is that me and Murad are going to be making a good... We're going to be going for it this summer. Right? It's not just summer. This bull market, we're going to be going for it. It's going to be a beauty. In my opinion, anyway. I'm going to be going for it. I love Murad, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to be going hard at this. Okay? So be part of the ride, people. That's all I've got to say. Right, how long have I been live now? I don't want to be nearly an hour. You're an absolute genius, Superman. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anil. Sammy, good. I like what I hear. Sorry, guys. The rest of the run is Dowge. Yes. Yes, it is. I fucking love this coin. I am not going to rest until I get this into the billions, people. I am not going to rest. Now, obviously, Dowge are going to be doing their job. The team members are going to be going for it too. They're going to be going for the trillions, but I'm not going to rest This one is my baby. I'm going to make this my biggest multiplier of the cycle ever. Okay? It's going to eclipse by far all of these. And you know what's funny? Is to look back on something like Tits. You know, that something like this went to 500 million market cap. And yet you look at something like Dowge, it's destined. Let's face it, it's destined. It's destined. It's cooked. I think I've gotten to the top now. Let me just look at a couple more, maybe. Some people like a safe 2 to 5x. That's fine, yeah, that's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, crypto is for you whatever you want to make of it. But it's, to me anyway, crypto is like Hollywood. You go to Hollywood to become a star. You go to crypto to become rich. If you want to be a little bit wealthy, just go join the stock market. I mean, just be part of the problem. But if you want to, you know, make something count, you know, you don't know how many more bull runs there are going to be. You don't know, right? So you got to try and make the biggest impact you can while you can. And this is a golden age. It's still a gold mine. Who'd have thought that 8 years, look, 8 years after doing these videos, you know, that...
Welcome to day 70 of...
Look at me back then, man. So brilliant. I could have my hair like that right now. It's just I'm not that thin. But, you know, what was the point I was making? Something about time. But, yeah, I've completely forgotten the point I was making. Damn it. I hate when that happens. Because I'm sure I was about to make an insane point. Hold on. I do love when people poke their head up and say, I'm an arsehole, block me. I love it when people do that, honestly. It's brilliant. Because it just kind of says to me, I'm glad that you guys, those kinds of people are not going to be benefiting later. Because as far as I'm concerned, just go fuck yourself. If you are disrespectful, then you deserve to reap what you sow, basically. And that's that. I think that, and that's another reason why I love Dowge, is because, you know, this is, if you actually have some form of soul, you will gravitate towards this. Whereas if you've got no soul, you'll gravitate to some fucking crap cryptocurrency and just get wrecked. Fine. But if you've actually got soul, you'll do well out of Dowge. You know, you'll get Dowge and you'll do well out of Dowge because you understand the concept. You're not looking at it as a multiplier coin. You're looking at this as a belief coin, as a movement coin. You know, this is a major. This is arguably the best cryptocurrency I've ever covered in all of my time on YouTube. I really do think so. You know, you only have to look at what it has and what, you know, the major tokens as well. You know, we were talking about Doge, Bitcoin, Ondo, even SPX, what they lack and where DJI6930 has it. Like, I would love for Murad, if you're watching, yeah, and I told Murad about this. You know, I said to him, before I covered it, before I covered DJI, I wanted him to be there. I wanted him to be part of it. You know, even if he was to just have a small little bit. I obviously didn't want him to buy it and tank it, which arguably you could say he's done. I wouldn't know because he'll have multiple addresses, you know. But because there have been some attempts to drown this and it never worked because the community is so strong. The interest in this is so gigantic. It just gets eaten. Any big cells get eaten. Some idiot, which I've banned from the group, sold like 20k earlier in one clip. Moron. Right? And I banned him because you don't disrespect a coin like this like that. You don't just try and fucking tank it. Right? So I wouldn't be surprised if he has done that. But I would love Murad to come back and even come back at me and say, you know, DJI6930 is a pile of shit compared to SPX. Whatever, right? I'd love to hear some form of response. Because as far as I'm concerned, being a lawyer and all, I've made a very compelling case as to why DJI 6930, on the face of it, completely blows SPX out of the water. It really does. And the only reason SPX is where it is now is because Murad is just constantly replying to big accounts. You know, check out SPX, check out SPX, check out SPX. Like, it just kept on that belief of someone of his size on Twitter. He just was concentrated on that one coin, and that is why it got to, because people then listened, you know. And it's the same with DJI 6930 right now. You know, we're in the beginning stage of that. It's 2 weeks old, people. Just don't let that disappear from your head. It's 2 weeks old, and look at what it's achieved. This is a major cryptocurrency in the making. And by the way, people, if you could be so kind, if you could just tap a like on this video, or as I used to say back in the good old days, like Spike, like Spike. Yeah, if you could quite literally just tap a like, I would be very, very happy. JC, very happy to be on this journey with you, Supo. I'm very happy you're with me. And I am very happy with all the people that are with me, to be honest. And that's why I'm following. So if you decide to put these symbols after your name, tag me and I'll follow you. Okay? We are an army. We are an army. Right, okay. Hold on, let me get rid of this utter retard. Right, okay, people. So I think that is it for today, because, you know, I don't want to be talking for too long. But I will be back, and it'll be about Dowge again. So don't expect me to change the record, to be honest, because as far as I'm concerned, this is the next big thing. This is the next big thing, people. So, have a good weekend, and stay Dowging, stay believing and faithful to DJI 6930. Everybody else, this is the next SPX, people. If you missed SPX, this is it. This is it. Nothing else. Alright, this is it. So people, have a great weekend. I love you all. You've been awesome. I've been the Supo Man, and I'll see you next time. It is lights out. All out.